Introduction. Again, my name is Daanis Chosa. I'm a Prevention and Policy Coordinator at the American Indian Cancer Foundation. I'm originally from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, a tribe called Keweenaw Indian Community, currently enrolled in Boys for a Band of Ojibwe, which is in northern Minnesota. I've been at AICAF for about 6 years now, and I'm glad to introduce this new resource that we have to you. But first, before that, we'll kind of get into the background of the American Indian Cancer Foundation. So we're a national nonprofit organization that was established to address the cancer inequities faced by Native communities. AICAF is Native governed, and our board members and our employees have an array of experience serving the health needs of our American Indian people. Our mission is to eliminate the cancer burdens of Indigenous people through improved access to prevention, early detection, treatment, and survivor support. At AICAF, we imagine a world where cancer is no longer the leading cause of cancer death for our people. We believe that through hard work, culturally appropriate, community-based programs, and policy change that affords Indigenous people access to the best prevention and treatment strategies, we see a day where Native communities are free of the burdens of cancer. So we know that the disparities are really unacceptable for our communities. The work ahead is really about reclaiming a strong and healthy future for our generations to come. And so we believe that Native communities have the wisdom and the solutions to cancer inequities, but we're often seeking the organizational capacity, expert input, and the resources to do so. So at AICAF, we focus our efforts in 3 strategic areas. The first is to bring attention to American Indian and Alaska Native cancer burdens and solutions, advance capacity through training, technical assistance, and culturally tailored resources, and increasing availability of reliable American Indian and Alaska Native cancer data and solutions. So these next few slides are going to be really some of the work that we provide to our tribal communities through our prevention and policy team. So at AICAF, the prevention and policy team partners with American Indian and Alaska Native communities to really implement policy systems and environmental change strategies that can promote healthy norms, health equity, and also cancer prevention. Our team focuses our efforts on tobacco, physical activity, nutrition, and healthy eating. So this is kind of a quick overview of some of the work that we do and some of the tools and resources that we offer. So we can support positive community change by assisting in efforts such as community engagement, focused conversations, action planning, event planning, and coalition building. And we also provide on-site and in-person training as well as web-based distance support, such as this webinar that I'm providing today. Some of the tools and resources we have are PSC infographics that are tailored to our tribal communities, infographics on prevention topics such as HPV, breastfeeding as cancer prevention, breast screening, and cervical cancer screening. We also provide event planning templates, policy examples, and also public health data to make the case for change. And then we also provide strategic planning, development, and report generation as well. And we also partner with tribes across the nation to facilitate discussions, to educate and identify PSC strategies, change strategies that they can make within their communities. So we provide policy systems and environmental change technical assistance, which would include PSC Change 101 trainings, and then also facilitate community conversations to identify PSC change strategies and solutions. Again, strategic planning facilitation. We do a lot of community visioning, health and wellness prioritizing, action planning, and then calendar creation as well. So we also partner with the Public Health Law Center to review policy drafts and also help with legal writing. We have helped quite a few tribes with policy drafting workshops, policy template creation, policy development and review, again, connecting to Public Health Law Center, and then also presenting tribal policy drafts to tribal councils. So here's some more opportunities of partnership with tribal communities. We do provide ongoing and available support in coalition building, assistance with the development of coalitions, resources to help keep coalitions engaged, trainings, and then also community engagement strategy development, event planning for creating community buy-in is one thing that we've helped a lot of communities with as well. We have done, again, presentations, making the case for change. So really providing fact-based data and information on health prevention and wellness, survey development for community input, and then also grant reviewing to assist with the sustainability of initiatives, along with work plan reviewing. So before we really delve into the guide, we like to share background information on why the guide was important to create. So at the American Indian Cancer Foundation, we understand the need to assess our ways of life as Native people when starting really any new initiative that we work on. As Native people and at AICAF, our worldview has always been non-linear when compared to the Western worldview. We really think that the Indigenous worldview is about interrelatedness, balance, and sustainability. And our life ways are always rooted in culture and grounded in respect for all living things. Native people are often collective in nature versus individualistic. And our collective cultures emphasize family and work group goals over individual needs, whereas individualism really emphasizes personal achievement. So strengthening this connection creates opportunities for us to be healthier as Native people. And this is really the worldview that we use to guide the work that we do every day. So in order to achieve our full health potential, we really need to acknowledge and understand the adverse social determinants of health that have hindered our ability to achieve health equity as Native people. These social determinants of health include historical and intergenerational trauma, poor access to healthy foods, services, employment, education, and transportation. Many of these adverse social determinants of health lead to a cycle of adverse childhood experiences such as household dysfunction, abuse, and neglect. These adverse experiences often lead to behavioral risk factors such as lack of physical activity, unhealthy eating, commercial tobacco use, and addiction. So we really know that these behavioral risk factors lead to poor health outcomes and ultimately early deaths. Well, we believe that, and we do use this approach to achieve health equity. So this means we need to support positive social determinants of health, such as social and economic opportunities, and increase access to healthy foods and our sacred medicines, and also provide safe physical activity spaces, healthcare, education, housing, modes of transportation, and the internet. Another key piece to achieving full health potential is by breaking the cycle of trauma. This includes protective factors such as cultural connectedness, a sense of belonging, resiliency, and practicing healthy coping skills by nurturing stable relationships, providing culturally tailored family education, connecting families to community systems resources, and providing spaces for breastfeeding allows us to help prevent adverse childhood experiences. And finally, by incorporating a balanced lifestyle, including physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual balance, we are able to achieve health equity and achieve our full health potential as Indigenous people and communities. Sorry about that. So as a result of colonization and historical trauma, American Indians face tremendous inequities in cancer and other chronic diseases. American Indians suffer from some of the highest rates of chronic disease and have the lowest life expectancy in the United States. So cancer death rates for American Indian and Alaska Natives have increased over a 20-year span while decreasing for whites over the same time frame. We're often, unfortunately, on the worst end of every health indicator reported, for example, access to healthcare, environmental quality, substance abuse, and many others. So as many of you know, prior to colonization, our communities were really healthy and thriving. Colonization and cultural genocide of Indigenous people in the United States really devastated our traditional food systems that naturally fostered physical activity, healthy diet, and spiritual connection with our land. So these resulted in changes, like drastic changes to the way that Native people ate, lived, worked, and played. Traditional cultural practices related to growing, harvesting, cooking, and preserving foods were lost and replaced with highly processed, unhealthy food as the only option in many regions, which greatly contributes to the high rates of cancer and chronic illnesses that are present within our communities today. So this is really the reason why we created this resource, was to really fill in that gap with the work that we do around healthy Indigenous foods and how food can really help after a cancer diagnosis. So it was really developed to meet survivor needs, which we thought was very important, especially being the American Indian Cancer Foundation. So many Native communities are working to normalize healthy eating to reduce cancer risk, and in turn, we recognize the need for culturally guided, comprehensive approaches and resources to really improve access to and consumption of healthy foods. So this nutrition guide will help survivors with nutrition options while they're on their cancer journey. We'll kind of get into that. So why is nutrition important for cancer survivors? Cancer treatment is tough on the body. So during treatment, it is common to experience things as, and we'll talk about this more later on as well, excessive weight loss, anorexia, along with other difficult side effects. And we know that food is medicine. Healthy, nutrient-dense foods can really strengthen the body. So like eating enough calories and getting plenty of vitamins and minerals will support the body through stressors of treatments and side effects. So within the introduction of the guide, you'll see there's a definition for a cancer survivor. So we really felt the need to define a cancer survivor within a resource because we felt it was important. So we define a cancer survivor as any person diagnosed with cancer from the time of diagnosis until they're coming into the spirit world. We also felt it was important to create this guide because we understand that information provided by hospitals, treatment centers, etc., can often be really overwhelming for the person that is going through their cancer journey. And because of this is why we developed this culturally tailored guide to help support Native cancer survivors, caregivers, and families of survivors through their journey. So nutrition information can be complicated and seem overwhelming at times, but really knowing the basics will give you the power to make decisions that can help heal the body, support the process, and also just to take care of yourself in general. So within the guide, it highlights 3 main food categories, and those are protein, carbohydrates, and fats, which are also known as macronutrients. So protein is really considered a building block of nutrition, and it's important for maintaining tissue structure and metabolism. And there's definitely several different sources, especially more traditional sources that Indigenous people have used since forever, such as lean meats, bison, chicken, fish, salmon, and walleye, eggs, dairy, low-fat cottage cheese, natural yogurt, etc., and then nuts and beans as well. Carbohydrates, which are considered the fuel for the body and gives us energy. Below are some examples of some healthy complex carbs, vegetables, squash, corn and potatoes, legumes, whole fruits such as strawberries, apples, and pumpkin, nuts such as walnuts and hazelnuts, seeds such as pumpkin, chia, and wild rice, and then also grains. This here is actually a photograph of my dad winnowing wild rice up on our reservation, Boys Fort Bandit, Chippewa. We go and harvest wild rice every fall, late summer, fall time. So And he also does a lot of teachings around like the traditional practices of harvesting and cleaning and processing wild rice. Fats, so those are important for your digestive system and also hormone regulation for cancer survivors. So it's important to choose healthy fats instead of foods that contain high amounts of like trans or saturated fats. Some healthy fats found in some foods could be nuts, peanuts, and almonds. Nut butters are a really good source of healthy fats, seeds, avocados, and then also olive oil. So there are other important nutrients to include in your diet in addition to healthy proteins, carbs, and fats. Fresh, unprocessed foods are packed with nutrients known as macrominerals and microminerals. So things like milk, yogurt, dark leafy greens, beans, and nuts and seeds are really excellent sources of calcium and iron. So caring for yourself with your diagnosis, cancer survivor and caregiver nutrition strategies within the guide. So all of this nutrition information, again, can be overwhelming. So it really helps to remember to stick to a few basic principles. So making healthy changes to your diet is not about learning what tasty foods you cannot have anymore, but really instead learning ways to make healthy, promoting Indigenous foods good to eat without taking too much time or energy. So there's some 5 basic principles to help the healing process. The first is eat every few hours. Our bodies are constantly burning energy even while we're sleeping, so it's really vital for a cancer survivor to constantly provide their bodies with the energy and nutrients they need to maintain normal body function, in addition to healing and repair. The healing process is really diminished when you do not eat or have enough food, so allowing the cancer to cause greater harm. Having protein every time you eat. Protein, again, is extremely important and often underconsumed. Unless your doctor suggests otherwise, try to have some type of protein-dense food every time you eat to give your body the building blocks it needs for strengthening and healing it. Eat fruits and veggies at each meal. Again, food is medicine. Fruits and veggies are an excellent source for vitamins and minerals. Eat enough fat. So for years, people avoided fat due to the belief that eating fat is unhealthy, but it's vital that you eat enough fat each day to allow for important processes in your body to take place. Drinking non or low calorie drinks often. Just a tiny bit of dehydration in your body is enough to really have a negative impact for cancer survivors. So paying attention to the labels on your drinks and choosing drinks with little or no calories is important. Water and green teas are the best choices, but it's really okay to drink other things like calorie-free sports drinks if you have trouble consuming fluids that are less flavorful. Cancer treatment can be tough on the body, so during treatment, survivors really need to adjust their diet to build up strength and withstand the effects of cancer and ongoing treatments. Treatment can make it difficult to maintain a healthy weight, and the type of cancer, type of treatment, and its side effects must be considered when determining the best way to approach nutrition. So cancer survivors' doctor may recommend one or more of the following treatments: chemotherapy, radiation therapy, and surgery. It's also important for survivors to stay nourished during and after treatment for optimal health. So eating enough calories and getting plenty of vitamins and minerals supports the body through stressors of treatments and side effects. And again, those side effects were excessive weight loss. So cancer can really wreak havoc in the body's ability to properly process and absorb food. So treatments such as radiation and chemotherapy combined with the mental and emotional stress cancer often ends with large nutrient deficiencies and malnutrition. And then also anorexia along with weight loss are major issues in cancer care and are common for patients with advanced cancer. So more than 50% of all people with cancer lose some body weight, and more than 1/3 lose more than 5% of their usual weight. Studies show that even small amounts of weight loss before treatment is associated with a poor prognosis and decreased quality of life, which also reinforces the importance of early medical nutrition therapy intervention. It will likely be easier to eat and digest soft foods with clear liquids. If swallowing is difficult, you may need to thicken your liquids to make them easier to get down. Survivors may find that they enjoy foods that tasted bad before, so it's important for a survivor to be open-minded when trying new foods. Since many patients often struggle to simply eat enough food, dietary restrictions are usually removed to provide more options when a survivor doesn't feel well. However, there are times when a special diet is needed, and a doctor or physician will be able to provide more information at the appropriate time. So this guide also provides tips for the following side effects, such as low appetite and weight loss. Eat frequently throughout the day. Foods that are higher in calories, protein, and nutrients are the best for energy and healing. So eating meals and snacks when a survivor isn't feeling well in a setting that brings on happy memories, help associate food with pleasure is important. Be as physically active as your body allows. Foods that a survivor can try: hard-boiled eggs, peanut butter, milkshakes, cheese, and things like that. Nausea, there are some tips such as sipping on cool liquids in small amounts, avoiding greasy, spicy, or sweet foods, avoid strong-smelling foods. And then diarrhea, drinking plenty of clear liquids such as water, clear juices, broths, and sport drinks. Constipation, be as physically active again as your body allows, drinking plenty of healthy beverages. And then a sore throat, experiment with different food temperatures to find which is the most soothing. Eat soft, moist foods with extra sauces, dressings, or gravies, avoiding dry, coarse, or rough foods. And then also avoiding alcohol, citrus, caffeine, tomatoes, vinegars, and hot peppers also could help alleviate that sore throat. Sore mouth, practice good oral hygiene, try foods at room temperature or chilled, eating softer, moister foods with extra sauces, etc. Help with fatigue, be as physically active as possible as your body allows, drink lots of healthy beverages again. Low white blood count, cell count, wash your hands often, keeping kitchen surfaces and utensils clean, wash all fruits and veggies, and then also don't consume raw or undercooked meat, poultry, eggs, or fish. Some tips for dry mouth for a cancer survivor is to sip on liquids throughout the day, eating soft, moist foods again with extra sauces, etc. Alter taste and smell, practice good oral hygiene, use plastic utensils if metallic tastes are an issue for you, eat cooler temperature foods, use saliva, use a cool mist humidifier while sleeping, sip on liquids throughout the day. Foods to try could be some club soda, seltzer water, or coconut water. So food and nutrition are important in a survivor's healing journey. Some foods that may seem helpful in preventing cancer can actually be harmful if cancer is present. So these are just some foods to avoid or decrease if these foods if cancer is present. Salt, herbs, dietary supplements, alcohol, BPA, coffee or tea. And then to avoid, depending on cancer type, is fiber and then non-caloric sweeteners. And then, of course, increase if cancer is present and for prevention, fruits and veggies like we just talked about. And within the nutrition guide, there's a whole list of reasons why. So I can also share that as well afterwards, or the link to that resource. So as you all may know, lifestyle changes to lower risk of reoccurrence is helpful. So for prevention reasons, nutrition affects every aspect of cancer from prevention to treatment and also remission. So therefore, it's really important to maintain a healthy diet before, during, and after your cancer treatment. Small, meaningful adjustments to your lifestyle can help reduce your risk and your family's risk of cancer occurrence. So with some types of treatment, healthcare professionals may prescribe a low microbial diet. So patients with a low white blood cell count can easily get sick from foods containing bacteria, viruses, yeast, and molds. So it's important to handle food safely, and you can do that by doing the following. Avoiding foods that contain unsafe levels of bacteria, thoroughly washing your hands, using special care when handling raw meats and unpasteurized beverages, avoiding untested well water. You can store foods at appropriate temperatures. And then also, when in doubt, throw it out. It's better to throw out food that may be contaminated than to eat it and get sick. These are just some recommendations along with to go along with the last two slides of prevention. So the way you cook your food plays a role in the development and prevention of cancer. Carcinogens are cancer-forming chemicals that can be found in, I guess, the type of cooking that you do. And those type of methods are when applying direct heat to food surfaces like toasting or grilling. Any form of cooking that darkens food can increase carcinogens in that food. So avoid as much as you can toasting, grilling, broiling, as these all can promote carcinogen formation. Baking is probably the best method, even though it does form some carcinogens, it's still a better method to use. So you can try other cooking methods, again, like boiling, sauteing, steaming, or poaching food. And then also removing charred portions of food prior to consumption. So it's always best to have fresh foods instead of processed foods as well. And then understanding nutrition facts is also a helpful skill in making informed decisions about your food. Within the guide, it has here, as you can see the screenshot, the serving size. It gives what you can do here. Serving size is the recommended amount a person should eat at one time. So you can check the amount and also the number of servings in the package. And then thinking about your portion size and compare it to the serving size on the label. It has your total calories, which are the amount in a single serving, like serving size, thinking about your portion size with respect to total calories. The percent daily values. It represents the average amount of nutrients for a person eating 2,000 calories per day. So again, checking with your healthcare team to see how many calories you should be eating per day and adjusting those accordingly. You have the nutrition terms. Some of the important ones to look at within the nutritional facts is low in saturated fat. Keep an eye out for that. Added sugars and then added sodium. And then the additional nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and fibers as well. So within the guide also it has a list of indigenous foods to fight cancers, and those are corn, berries, pumpkin, mushrooms, beans, bison, and salmon. So those are the best foods for a cancer survivor to consume as well. And then even within the guide, there's also includes regional recipes for, I think one was caribou stew, there was a wild rice pilaf, and then bison chili, along with some other ones as well, which I think is pretty neat to include in a resource like this. So in conclusion, change is circulating in a country as more tribal members are becoming interested in nutrition. American Indians and Alaska Natives have always known that food is medicine with healing power that we have to learn to harness. So foods such as the Three Sisters are cancer-fighting powerhouses that Indigenous people across the continent have been eating for centuries with no prior exposure to disease. Traditional Native foods are nourishing, but there's so much to learn about them and the ways that they help our bodies heal. But really reclaiming Indigenous relationships to food is just the beginning. Together we can improve our health in Indian country. So that's it for the guide. I do have some example resources here that we have available on our website, acaf.org. One of them is our Ordering Nutritious and Indigenous Foods Guidelines and Checklists. So the goal of this resource is to really start normalizing healthy Indigenous eating and food among American Indian and Alaska Native communities across the United States. So healthy eating, of course, really plays an important role in chronic disease prevention, and we hope this tool is one solution progressing towards having our communities free from the burdens of cancer. This tool is really designed for anybody to use, and for anyone that may be ordering or serving food at a meeting, event, or gathering. This is just some of the serving guidelines and checklists. I know that we have had a request for people to put these as attachments or appendices within their policies because they found it really helpful, especially employee wellness policies regarding food serving. We have our healthy eating for strong Native communities. So this infographic really details different healthy eating policy systems and environmental change strategies that could be utilized throughout the community. So if you're looking for more PSE ideas related to healthy eating, this is probably would be the most helpful resource for you. Some examples are enacting policy requiring healthy advertising and marketing at checkout area for a clinic, initiating fruit and vegetable prescription program with vouchers redeemable at stores and farmers markets. And that is it. If there's any questions, we have some time to take those, I believe.
Yes, absolutely. If anyone has any questions for Daanis, you can feel free to unmute yourself or type in the chat box as well.
And also, if you would like a copy of this resource, you can email me as well at dchosa@aicaf.org. And then our website also is aicaf.org, as you can see here. And we have all of these resources plus more listed as well.
Daanis, will you type your email address in the chat box just to have it down? And I'm also putting the evaluation link in the chat box as well. This webinar has been recorded today, so I will be sending out a follow-up email with the recorded webinar. If you are new to these webinars or this is your first time on, if you wouldn't mind typing your email address in the chat box as well, just to make sure that I get you in the follow-up email. And if nobody else has any questions, you can stay on a little bit longer if anyone has some last minute questions, but other than that, thank you so much for joining us today. Be on the lookout for an invite for our next webinar, which is on April 8th, discussing the CDC's Diabetes Prevention Recognition Program. Again, if you would like an invite for that and you are new to these webinars, please put your email in the chat box. Otherwise, thank you again for joining, and I hope you all have a great Wednesday.